Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Tuesday afternoon or evening or maybe an early Wednesday morning for you wherever you are in the world. Welcome to X Venture here live on Twitch TV as we take a look at the standings before we head into qualifying for our Season 36 finale happening out at Monza. 45 laps, but not before we get into 3 laps of qualifying. Now, you'll notice here on the leaderboard, we've got that footnote that says that AMS Huracan is attempting to secure his fourth Forza Spec Racing Series championship on top of Season 31, 33, and 34. He's actually already done that. It's a bit of a misnomer there in terms of attempting, because even if AMS Huracan was able to get or ended up with a goose egg here in week number 5, that becomes his lowest week of the 5 weeks. They drop that. They tally up your top 4, and AMS Huracan would still come away with the championship. So a little bit of a misnomer there on the leaderboard, a little bit of a snafu on social media. I know I went on the Twitter post to say that it's not a lock. It actually is a lock. So AMS Huracan going to pick up his 4th championship here, care of Season 36. I'm Dustin Moore on the microphone, and all the reasons for you to stay around are what you see there from AMS Huracan downward, actually from RZ and McQueen downward, because there are still great battles for 2nd, 3rd overall. Craytrim in 4th right now at 268. Can he jump up to 3rd position, maybe be on the podium here at the end of Season 36? There's a lot of unanswered questions yet in the standings, and so don't go running off and saying, oh, well, it's already decided, because really a lot of the beauty and joy out of racing is that it's not necessarily always a battle for the top spot. Yes, that's where folks want to be. That's where one driver ultimately will be at the end of any one race or at the end of a championship like we are here tonight. But you got to keep in mind there are drivers who have aspirations to either see themselves in the top 5, top 10, maybe the top 15. Heck, maybe there's somebody who's on the leaderboard beneath P20 right now who just wants to see themselves in the top 20 and show up on the leaderboard for the final standing. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be a great 45 laps around Monza. And again, they will have that qualifying, the 3 laps of qualifying to start things off this evening. As I take a look at the lobby, looks like we've got 16 drivers right now. And let this be a call to anybody who's interested in league racing. We have Forza Motorsport that is going to come out on the next generation of console here over the next, I don't know, I'm going to guess it's a year from not just from tonight. I'm not calling it as a October 13th release, but I think it's going to be about another year before we see the release of the next Forza Motorsport title. So if you're the least bit interested in getting in and involved in the Forza Spec Racing Series, reddit.com/r/FM4, that's the place you want to go. You can find the link there in the chat. Nightbot just dropped it there for you. Head on over there, get familiarized with how the rules setup is, because it'll carry over on into Season 37. The only thing will be different is the vehicle, and then, of course, the schedule itself. 9 races spread across 5 Tuesdays. And if you've got Tuesdays available at 8 p.m. Eastern, where we are right now at this very moment, 8 p.m. Eastern, then get out here and race. No matter how good or how bad you think you are, come out here and have a good old time as we see Craytrim, again, 4th overall on the leaderboard here in Season 36, trying to grab another podium spot. Craytrim's always in the picture there each and every season for a top 3 finish. We'll see if he's able to beat Audrex here. And again, it's all dependent on driver's worst week in terms of points. Even if Audrex does poorly out here tonight, maybe he'll still hold on to the 3rd spot, depending on his first 4 weeks matched up against Craytrim's first 4 weeks. As we see Craytrim now going through Variante Ascari, turn 8, 9, and 10, going down the long straightaway here toward Curva Parabolica, turn 11, the final corner, the right-hander. out here at Monza. 3.59 mile circuit. And this is the last time that we'll see the Forza Spec crew in the 1992 Bugatti EB110 Super Sport. 587 horsepower, 461 foot-pounds of torque, 2,886 pounds of curb weight. Brings the vehicle in at a performance index score here in Forza Motorsport 7 of S800. S800, the very top of the performance index spectrum that you will see the Forza Spec Racing Series run at. They like to stay at S800 or below. We'll go ahead and pull up the race stats so you can see the best times there in the bottom left. Look at that, McQueen coming in at a 145 triple aught. What are the odds of that? 145 flat. Let's go to Amos Udakan, who again will become our season 36 championship regardless of what happens here tonight. Even if he were to do qualifying and then decide not to participate and get a big old goose egg, doesn't matter. His first 4 weeks were good enough to give him the championship. And he said in the chat just before qualifying got started, screw it, let's have at it. He doesn't care if he's already won. He's going to try to demonstrate why he is the season 36 champion here out at Monza as he heads down the infield straightaway. Curva del Seleglio. And we saw him last week in this Puma livery, finally applying some sort of livery to his vehicle as opposed to just having the flat black paint job with the number board. A little bit of effort exercised here on the back half of season 36. He's got Mortismo behind him, who has the 13th quickest lap right now. Of course, that was off of a standing start, so let's see if Mortismo is able to do a little bit better here. He crosses the line, and it'll take a little bit to pair his times up against everybody else, but he's able to shave off almost 7 full seconds from his standing start. Let's go to McQueen, who still has the top time. Has gone from that 145 flat to a 140.089. Entering Lesmo here, turn 6 and then 7. The double right-handers. Into Scari. We got this nice kind of partly cloudy skybox here. I think it's this and then a just generally sunny kind of midday environment. The lighting here a little bit better. Looks good. As he goes into Parabolica for the final time here during qualifying, he being McQueen. And yes, his other car is a Dacia Sandero, as you can see there on the side of the Bugatti EB110. And across the line, can he beat his own time? No, he does not. A 140.089 is the quickest for McQueen, and that will be good enough for pole. And really the question is going to be, after season 36 here, is McQueen going to stick around for season 37 and try to put an end to what has now become I believe, a 5-season reign of terror? That is the Alien Motorsport crew. It was Amos Udakan going back-to-back season 33, 34. Then season 35 went to AMS Storm, and then season 36 back to Udakan. So that's 4 seasons. I'm trying to recall who picked up the championship there in 32. And that's going to do it here for qualifying. We take a look at the race or the qualifying results. Kratom with a 147.8 890, a 140.856 there by Barney. Well done, Barney. I think that might be row number 2 or 3 for Barney. Born as Ghost with a 141, 140 there for McQueen. That pull time, 089. Buck with a 141.668. Amos Unicon with the 140, 124. That should be good enough for row number 1, P2. And then after that, it's Slow Motion Fire with a dirtied 144.864. Mortismo with a 148. Fear the Fun with a 141. Fox Jason D with a 143. Joe Beardy at 146. Audrex with that 141.139. I think that will be row number 2. 141.914 for Chaos Fox. 143.609 for Raccoon. Modern Weapon with a dirtied 147. And so I think that sticks Raccoon at the very back of the pack. Doesn't matter that Mortismo has a 148. Mortismo's 148 is clean to Modern Weapons' dirtied 147. Then Sprizaus, the 16th driver on the grid, with a 147.999. So there are the times entering tonight's race. And yes, it is an enduro. 45 laps around Monza. 3.59 mile track, and there will be pit stops. At least one. I'm curious as to whether or not there will be a need for a second. Mortismo says, dirtied the last sector on the second lap, and that was that. Glad I had a clean out lap. Yeah, Mortismo pretty satisfied with the fact that he got a clean lap, because that's half the battle. Get a clean lap first and foremost, and then try to be a quick clean lap. You get that dirty lap, and you know you're already going to the back by default. Of course, it just depends on how many others got dirty laps to dictate how close to the caboose end of the field you are. And 16 drivers on the grid. Really hoping that we could see in Season 37 a full grid. It wasn't too long ago. As a matter of fact, I think it was Season 35, just last season, that we had a full lobby. So we would love to get back there again. And you could tell by the different times that we have here during qualifying, from the 140 of Barney and McQueen all the way out to 148, 8 seconds off the leader. That's okay. Come out here. As long as you are running clean, that's all we can ask. That's all we can ask. Get around the track. Find out who you match up nicely against. Try to do better than them. And then find the next guy or gal. Try to do better than them. So on and so forth, all the way to the point in which you go, you know what? I think I've reached my ceiling. And then even when you think you've gone as high up as you possibly can, there might be room for more. And you can do that all in anticipation for the next Forza Motorsport title, because the Forza Spec Racing Series, they've been doing this. Slow Motion Fire, Modern Weapon, Fear the Fun. They've been organizing these races dating back to Forza Motorsport 4, one of the longest running community leagues that you'll find in the Forza community. And they still got miles to go. Plenty more racing to be had in the FM4 series. They're not done. They're not done by a long shot. All right. All of our drivers getting ready to up on the grid, maybe making any sort of last-minute adjustments that they might desire. They do have the Forza Aero up front to allow them to adjust that spoiler so as to get either maximum downforce for cornering, or maybe minimize the amount of downforce for that straight line speed, or somewhere in between to get a little bit of a balance of both cornering and speed. You're going to want that speed, though, on that front straightaway, because 1 and 2, or what would have been 1 and 2, Variante del I'm not even going to try to I'm not even going to try to say it, but let's just say the first chicane, 1 and 2, on that front straightaway right after the start-finish line, not too far after the start-finish line. That's out. That's out of the picture. We're on the alternate track here out at Monza, so they're going to be pedal to the metal all the way into Biassono. Curva Grande, what will be turn 1 for us here tonight. All of our drivers pretty much readied up here. Just waiting for Modern Weapon to be all set. Again, AMS Udakan will come out as the champion here in Season 36. Everybody else, though, still scrapping. Still fighting for a good finishing position. Try to hit their goals. Where it is they want to be on that overall leaderboard after 9 races in the EB110. And it's been kind of a love-hate relationship for some of the drivers. I would say a lot of the drivers, as they talked to us earlier on in the season about some of the troubles that they had with the car and then able to overcome those. I just realized I didn't have my overlay up for our qualifying. Got to see all the ugly UI. There you go. Let's go ahead and turn on the audio again. And get ready for racing. Let's go to MS Udakan here in P2. And so he'll be on the outside heading into turn number 1, or the left side of the grid order. AMS Storm there in the pit lane saying, I mean, we can't run rear-wheel drive, front-wheel drive every season, right? A little all-wheel drive action here in the Bugatti. All right, here they go on the line. McQueen there. Actually, they set it up so that McQueen, the pole sitter, is on the outside heading into turn number 1. Kick the tires and light the tires. Last time here for Season 36 in the Bugatti EB110. Down the long front straightaway, making that charge toward Curva Grande, turn number 1 for us here in the 45 laps around Monza. We've got a driver who's already well off into the sand trap. AMS Udakan is in second, Audrex in third, Barney in fourth, Buck is in fifth, Born as Ghost is sixth, Chaos Fox in seventh, Fear the Fun in eighth, AP1 Raccoon in ninth, Joe Beardy in 10th. And then we look back a little bit further, and Modern Weapon, Sprizaus, and Slow Motion Fire, they got caught up with each other there into turn number 1. Saw their little dots there on the map, well off the pace as the top 13 went cruising on down toward Variante della Rosia. Or Rocha. I don't know. Something to that effect. I'll try my best Italian here tonight as we see them coming down now toward Ascari. It's AMS Udakan right there on the back bumper of McQueen. McQueen just a complete competitor here in season number 36. The only downfall for him really was there in week number 1 as he came up short, leading pretty much 9/10 of the race out at Watkins Glen before ending up into pit lane, yielding the victory to AMS Udakan. Then McQueen on the second race was able to come away with the win, and pretty handily too. I mean, he wasn't even challenged for the victory there in week number 1. So had it not been that miscue out at Watkins Glen, we could be singing a different tune here tonight. Instead, Alien Motorsport driver of Udakan will pick up the championship right off the heels of his teammate AMS Storm 1919, getting it in season 35 with the VW Scirocco. And already McQueen and Huracan starting to part ways with the rest of the field as they go through what is going to be for us here tonight 2 and 3. Variante now up to Curva dell'Istmo, turn 6. The one that I have the most trouble with, I always either end up in the dirt or I go into that corner too slow, trying not to end up in the dirt, and then it just doesn't allow me to have a very good pace. So 6 and 7, that'll be the area to watch here throughout the race as they go underneath the Michelin Bridge. back toward, let's see, if I subtract a couple, this will be 6, 7, and 8 on the alternate track. To Parabolika. Huracan tucked there on the apex. McQueen going to run up off onto the green before bringing it back out within track limits and across the line for the beginning of lap number 3. Let's go ahead and ride on board, take a lap around the track here with AMS Huracan. What's going on there, Corona Vera? Corona Vera asking in the pit lane, the Twitch chat, why so many laps? Ow! It's because it's week number 5, the final race in the season here, race number 9. And race number 9 in the Forza Spec Racing Series is always an endurance event. And that would be the reason for the extra laps. SGR Chaos Fox, thank you for the host, beginning today's broadcast. Tiny Turtle with the follow, and now Buchunder with the follow. Thank you very much. Welcome to the channel. Hope you enjoy your time here. As we get around Monza, let's drop back a little bit here as our leaders kind of are content with where they're at for the time being. Let's go to Craytrim here in 5th position, and he's closing in on LSEM Barney. Coming out of 2 and 3, up to Lesmo, and Craytrim again is the one that I am in particular looking out for here in this 9th and final race to see if he can't leapfrog Drex, who currently sits 3rd overall on the leaderboard. Craytrim in 4th. Craytrim is, and I say by far, but I would have to now compare him against AMS Huracan, who's going for his 4th championship and will get his 4th championship here in season 36. I'll have to bump him up against Craytrim, because Craytrim for a long time, and I think still, even after season 36, will hold on as the driver with the most championships here in FM4. However, if AMS Huracan, and he's not shown any indication of letting up, if he sticks around for another season or two, Craytrim's lead in terms of championships in the series could be at jeopardy. As Craytrim all by himself here, heading toward Curva Grande. Turn number 1 for us here out at Monza, keeping it nice and tidy there. Fast, sweeping right-hander. You get a little bit of camber to work with, and then you come up to these chicanes. There's a whole host of them out here out at Monza. On this alternate version, however, we only have got the 2, Variante and then Variante Ascari. They're midway through the track, and it's 1 and 2, or what would be 1 and 2, or 1 and 2. They're on the front straightaway that we don't have here tonight. Coming up to that Ford Performance Bridge. Now onto the long straightaway is Cratrium. In sixth is Fear the Fun. Chaos Fox in seventh, where Tismo in eighth position. Back up to second with AMS Unicon. Trying to keep pace, although you see it's about a quarter of a second, almost half a second lead there for McQueen. Probably about a half a second now as they come out of turn 9 and across the line, beginning of lap 6. We got the rest of the field really spread out, the only exception being back there in 15th and 16th position. 15th belonging to Slow Motion Fire, and then Spurzalis in 16th. And really then your most interesting battle is here for first. Modern Weapon, though, closing in on Borna's Ghost for 10th. Let's go to Modern Weapon. Are these are spec cars? They are. They absolutely are. Every vehicle out on the track has 587 horsepower, 461 foot-pounds of torque, and they all weigh exactly 2,886 pounds for a performance index of S800 here in Forza Motorsport 7. Some drivers on PC, some drivers on console. But that's the name of the game in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Everybody has the same vehicle from season to season. The build is the same. Yes, you can have individualized tuning setups depending on your driving preferences and depending on which components allow for those adjustments. But everything else about the car is the exact same. And then there are a few assists that they mandate, with then the rest being completely up to you. So a lot of flexibility, very accommodating, and genuinely a good group of guys and gals to hang out with if, again, you're looking for a community-based league that is open to anybody, regardless of your skill level. Do not be intimidated. Get out here on the track, have some fun, do the best you can, and who knows, with time, you too might be competing for a championship. Champion of each season gets the bragging rights, but then also gets to pick what vehicle it will be that is raced in the subsequent season. In this case, going into season number 37, and AMS Unicon will be the driver to have that pick. Yeah, no worry there, Buchunder. No wonder. Or, no wonder. No worry. I appreciate the questions. That way we can kind of clarify things, and it allows me to kind of talk up the series again, because it really is great. I mean, I wouldn't be here commentating if it wasn't a series that I believed in and that I thought was one that was kind of exemplary in terms of well run. The driving, the competition's been great. And the folks here are very welcoming. Anybody steps out of line, Slow Motion Fire and his crew are usually pretty quick to resolve things, which is, those incidents are very few and far between. So if you're just tired of the same old in public hoppers, or maybe you've got a league that's just not up to snuff, they just don't have their stuff sorted out, check it out, reddit.com/r/FM4. We see Mortismo here in the Repsol EB110 getting through turn number 1. Love it. Love the design. Borna's Ghost in 9th. Joe Beardy in 10th. And then we've got a driver already in the pit lane I'll have to wait till the timing gets updated to see who that is. Buck is in 11th. Modern Weapon in 12th. Raccoon in 13th. Sprazouse in 14th. Fox Jason D is in 15th. And that's Slow Motion Fire, who is already pulled into pit lane. Let's go back to AP1 Raccoon here, who is tucked in between. Oh my gosh, look at that abuse of the track limits there. Raccoon, he's going to have to deal with those turtles coming back out on the track, and he's going to go around Sprazouse as a result. And then Joe Beardy with the double pass there through the chicane picks up 11th. And actually, I said Slow Motion Fire, but it looks like we've got Modern Weapon. Now that the timing has updated, it's Modern Weapon who's off the track in the Crystal Pepsi car. Parked there between turn 1 and 2 if we were using those corners here. Perhaps attending to something happening in the real world, which is perfectly fine. If you've got something going on, pull off the track and go take care of it. That's the responsible thing to do. Let's go to Fear the Fun here in 7th position behind Chaos Fox, who is in 6th. What's up there, Carry Out? Good to see you. Sad to not see you out on the track, but happy to have you here watching the action from the spectator point of view. Fear the Fun with that PNC Bank livery. I can't commend the drivers enough for not only racing well out here on the track, but then looking good doing it. Getting the cars all dressed up in appropriate race attire. For the fun, he's going to go ahead and touch the dirt. That's going to slow him down a little bit and allow Mortismo to close in. Let's go to Mortismo there in 8th. Little iffy through Scotty is Mortismo, and because of that, Fear the Fun starts to leave him in the dust. RZ McQueen, still our leader. Amos Udukan has dropped back even further from where we last saw him. Audrex is in 3rd. Cratrium in 5th, back behind Barney, who's in 4th. Let's go to Cratrium as they begin lap number 10 here under the partly to mostly cloudy skies out at Monza. No threat of precipitation, however. It'll stay a dry race all the way through. They are set to sim damage. That is correct. And that's for all the races in the Forza Spec Racing Series, not just this Enduro for race number 9. As we take a look at Cratrium's situation there, tire degradation down to 28 to 26% on the fronts, 18% about thereabouts for the rear, 66% of fuel left in the tank. So yes, it might be very close to having to make 2 stops here in race number 9. Oh, and there goes Barney out into the dirt, building sandcastles, coming through with Scotty. That's going to allow Cratrium to get past, and not only past Barney, but really start to pull away as he goes into Parabolica. Let's see if Cratrium can catch up to Audrex and company. Cratrium currently sitting in P4. That matches his overall position entering week number 5 on the leaderboard for the championship points. And across the line, beginning lap number 11. So Barney, who got off the track there in 5th. Chaos Fox in 6th. Fear the Fun in 7th. Mortismo in 8th. Born as Ghost in 9th. Let's go to LSCM Buck, the other LSCM driver out here on the track. They share liveries. However, Buck's is red. Barney with red, or excuse me, white with red piping. As they go to turn, what is turn number 1 for us here on the alternate circuit. So yes, set to sim damage. And we'll have those pit stops that come into play. But that means you got to keep your nose clean too. You got to keep your composure, keep your focus, not run off track and slam into the wall, not slam into any other driver, including the back markers, who here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, they are not ghosted. Keeping that element of realism in the series, they do not ghost the back markers, and so you got to look out for those drivers as well. But even if you find yourself as a back marker, really that's your only responsibility, is just make sure that you're watching out for drivers that are coming up on you. And it doesn't matter if they put you down a lap, 2 laps, run your race. Doesn't matter, as we see LSC and Buck making the pass here on Borna's Ghost. Borna's Ghost getting a little wobbly as he applies the brakes, heading into Parabolica. They're going to take 2 opposite lines there. Buck on the inside, Ghost on the outside. And now Ghost drops in, trying to do a little switcheroo, a switchback. But it'll be Buck who leads the charge across the line, beginning of lap number 12 and in 9th position. Now heading into Grande. Can Buck hold on to it? That he does. Borna's Ghost, and there goes Buck. He got a little squirrely, much like Borna's Ghost did going into Parabolica, but now Buck does it, and that puts him off track. Let's go to Fear the Fun in 7th position. He's got Chaos Fox still out there in front of him. However, he was able to get around Mortismo. And I take that back. That was Mortismo who was trying to catch up there with Fear the Fun. But now Fear the Fun on a bit of a hot streak here. I say that, and he slides it out into Ascari, which sends him over the little rumble strip. And let's go back to where Buck went off the track there at Curva Grande. Chaos Fox in 7th. A little bit of braking applied. Line the nose up nicely there for the apex of turn 5 for us on the alternate version of Monza. And Chaos Fox trying to get away from Fear the Fun, and I don't blame him. We've talked about this before. Fear the Fun, a very competitive and a very skilled driver out on the track. However, he has a tendency to be a little over eager. Pushes the limits, and more times than not makes a mistake. And if you're a driver who finds yourself around Fear the Fun, the last thing you want to do be is a casualty of one of those mistakes, an innocent bystander, collateral damage. And so I'm thinking Chaos Fox, part of the Scrubs Go Racing team, SGR, trying to keep that EB110 scooting around the track and keep Fear the Fun in the rearview mirror. Let's go to Mortismo, who is closing back in on Fear the Fun. drops back, closes back in, drops back, closes back in. And you've got Borna's Ghost there in the background. And look at that, Borna's Ghost coming in hot here into the chicane. And just like that, he's going to pick up a few seconds. Borna's Ghost having a few awesome runs here as of late. Notably there in week number 4. Catalunya and Road America. 2 fantastic races here in season 36. Week 1 was great. Week 2, week 3 has not disappointed here with the Forza Spec Racing Series. Fear the fun. I was mentioning it. Some of those inconsistencies. He goes off the track, allows Mortismo in a bit of a drag race here, and look at that. Fear the Fun's going to get double passed with Borna's Ghost going to the outside, around the outside, round the outside. Fear the Fun's going to do a little rocker panel bashing, and at least for now, looks like he'll situate himself between Mortismo and Borna's Ghost for 8th position, and Borna's Ghost right there on him. Right there. Like, you could barely slip a piece of paper between the two, it seemed. And now a little bit more space, and there goes Borna's Ghost. He's going to be able to hold on to it, but has to slow down to keep it on the asphalt. And as a result, he's back out of the picture just like that. And now Mortismo and Fear the Fun working together to close in on Chaos Fox. They're going to go side by side into Lesmo. Be careful, boys. Here they go. Fear the Fun to the inside. Mortismo, he gets a couple of tires out in the dirt. That's going to slow him down a bit. Fear the Fun back up to in the 7th. And that's where he'll be as they enter the back straightaway. Back into Parabolica, turn 11 on the overall track. The headlights beaming through the shadows there. A little darker through that part of the track before you get back into the sun across the line and past pit lane. As we take a look at the situation here for Mortismo, now up to 38% in the front, 30s in the back, 47% of fuel in the tank, and just a few scratches about the EB110. No true aero damage or mechanical damage on the car. Nice little battle here. 7th, 8th, and 9th. Fear the Fun, Mortismo, Borna's Ghost. Our race leader, it's still RZM McQueen. MS Udakan there in 2nd. Audrex in 3rd. Craytrim in 4th. He's got a back marker between he and Audrex. LSCM Barney in 5th. And then after 7th, 8th, and the 9th, it is LSCM Buck in 10th, Joe Beardy in 11th, Fox Jason D in 12th. It looks like Slow Motion Fire in 13th. Now I'm looking for the timing to maybe catch up because it appears Brazaus is in the pit lane, AP1 Raccoon in 15th, and Modern Weapon, the 16th of 16 drivers out on the track through a Scotty once again. Borna's Ghost on the high line there with Mortismo kind of in the middle. Monza, an addition to Forza Motorsport, I believe with Forza Motorsport 6. A track that had been pretty pretty heavily requested. I don't think it's a track that fans have gone absolutely bonkers for, but one that was on the wish list. Born as Ghost with good angles there. Through 2 and 3. Grabs a little bit of the grass there on the inside of 5. The beauty of the Forza Spec Racing Series, you just don't know what vehicle is going to be next. It'll be Amos Erkan who picks the next vehicle for Season 37, but we've had everything from F100s to Fiat X19s to V8 Aston Martin Vantage to the EV110 that you see here in Season 36. It was the VW Scirocco just before that. It's all up to the champion to decide, and then you'll go through 9 races in whatever vehicle he or she decides. But what's cool too is that the champion will pick the car. We'll tell Slow Motion Fire, who's the organizer of this series. Slow Motion Fire will take some photos, but very like micro photography, or macro photography, I should say, very up close of components of a vehicle. And as a participant in the Forza Spec Racing Series, if you can guess what the vehicle is based on those screenshots, you get to pick a track. So that could be advantageous to you. Maybe you're really, really good around Laguna Seca. Maybe you're really, really fast out at the Indianapolis Grand Prix. Maybe you have a thing for ovals and you're pretty untouchable at Homestead. You win a championship, or excuse me, you win. You guess the car correctly. You get to pick whatever track you'd like, and then of course you win the championship. Then you could pick the car. Carryout says, "I hope McQueen picks a good car this next season." McQueen won't be the one to select it, and it was really close here in Season 36. Again, if McQueen had not botched race number 1 out at Watkins Glen, he would have had the points, of course, assuming that week 2, 3, and 4 panned out the way that they did, and then assuming he were to get the win here in week number 5, like he's currently on tap to do, then he would have been picking the vehicle. But it is Amos Erkan who's got the championship locked in for Season 36 and will decide where they go. It was AMS Storm who picked the Bugatti. We continue to hang out here with Mortismo, who was challenging Fear the Fun a while ago. Now he's got Born as Ghost to deal with. Carryout saying, "I've been busy lately. Haven't looked at the points." Yeah, and that's completely understandable. That's what I'm here for, be able to give you that information. It's been really close, and I hope McQueen sticks around, because if he does, well, I hope McQueen and Huracan stick around, because if they do, then we can anticipate the really close racing and that close battle for the championship that we've seen all throughout the season. It just so happens that if Huracan gets a goose egg, well, he can't now. The lowest number of points that Huracan can get here in race number 9 is 6. Even if he were to get that, they would drop that, take his top 4 weeks, and he would still be the champion. So the math is in his favor. But if we can get both he, McQueen, Craytrim, Craytrim's been a staple of this series. I don't see him going anywhere. And Audrax even. Audrax 3rd overall in the points coming into this race. Would love to see another battle for the top. And, of course, the league is always open to other drivers of a high skill level. I mean, we've had Mesosphere, who's shown up out here, and unfortunately he's just not been able to put a lot of seasons in where he's out on the track week after week. If he were, he would be a contender. And we've got another driver who it looks like they're in pit lane. Is that LSM Buck? I think it is. We can't see him over the wall. Oh, now we do. The gamer tag there coming down pit lane. So he was indeed in pit lane. It looked like maybe stopped just short, but happened to have one of those very early on pit boxes. Now coming out under the power of the AI, and now it relinquishes control to him. And so back out on the track in 11th is LSM Buck. Actually make that 13th. Let's go to McQueen, who I believe has gotten around one of the back markers. Yep, that is 16th of Modern Weapon. You got to look quite a ways back to find Amos Huracan in second, Audrex in third, Kratrim. Not on the pace here today. He's just now entering turn number 1 with Audrex heading into Curva del Istmo. 4 and 5. I mean, it's possible maybe I missed Kratrim going into pit lane early, but with the difference between third and fourth, I'm guessing he has not yet gone in. As a matter of fact, we can take a look here and confirm it. Yeah, he definitely has not. 63% there on the front left to the 58% on the front right, and then about 40% on the rears, 27 left in the fuel tank. And so as the fuel tank continues to deplete, what the drivers will probably notice more so is the lack of grip there on those front tires, which can be troublesome in a vehicle that has had a tendency to understeer all season long. Kratrim, a little bit of a tank slapper there. A mild, maybe mild's even putting it too much, but just a little sideways. A little tail happy. Getting through a Scotty. Barney in 5th, Fear the Fun in 6th. Let's go to Cass Fox now, who's in 7th as they enter Ascari. And they've got Fear the Fun, Chaos Fox. Then it's Born as Ghost and Mortismo, a 4-way battle for 6th here, starting to shape up. And this is indeed our best battle on the track right now. Chaos Fox back behind Fear the Fun, who's leading the charge across the line, beginning of lap 22. And look at that. I mean, they're on these are quick drivers, these four. And yet they're almost on the polar opposite of the track compared to McQueen. It's amazing the amount of talent that they have out here. A great way to keep on point with your Forza racing game. Oh, and Born as Ghost, he was on the outside heading into turn number 2 there, and without doubt was going to drop it into the inside to get a nice run through the chicane, but Chaos Fox was there on his inside, preventing him from being able to do so, and had no choice but just kind of hang back. He's been able to regain ground, however. Maybe taking a little bit too much liberty there with the exit of a Scotty, hopping over the, it's not even a rumble strip, it's just a full-on speed bump. The driver's probably given instructions here before this race of where they can exceed the track limits a bit and then where they shouldn't. I'm guessing through the chicanes of Veriante Rochia and Ascati, that's probably not where they were instructed to go outside the whites, the white lines. Into turn number 1, Grande. And Grande indeed. I mean, it's apart from Parabolica, although you got to slow down a bit for Parabolica because of its horseshoe-like shape. Grande is just a big sweeping right-hander. Allows you to run through pretty quickly, and if you set it up nicely, you can carry a lot of speed through there. Really pick up some time on your opponent. Speaking of which, here comes Born as Ghost closing in on Chaos Fox. Got a car into pit lane. I'm going to try to keep my eye out for those. It looks like Audrex, if the timing is correct. Maybe it is not. Let's go to Audrex here and verify. No, he is indeed. Audrex is into pit lane. So that'll move Cratrim on up to 3rd. Barney's going to go ahead and grab 5th. Audrex now exiting in 5th. And so will he be able to make it all the way to the end on this full tank of fuel and 4 tires? A little bit more than halfway through the race. 45 laps, that 46 there in the upper left, that's a cool down lap. So what we're looking for is where they're finishing on lap number 45. McQueen still our race leader. Let's see if he goes into pit lane. He does not. Nearing orange status on all 4 corners. 14% of fuel in the tank. Amos Hurkan, he'll stay out on the track. Let's go to Cratrim as he makes his way up to Parabolica. What will he do? And it looks like he is going to stay out. That he does. Across the line. LSCM Barney in the white version here of the LSCM livery. Audrex, who already went into pit lane, in 5th. Fear the Fun in 6th. Born as Ghost in 7th. Let's go back to Chaos Fox, who's now in 8th position. He'll stay on the track, but it looks like 9th. Is that Mortismo? It is Mortismo into pit lane with the Repsol car. A little poof of smoke there at the back of Born as Ghost. Must have been sliding a little bit, and there goes Chaos Fox into the back bumper. No harm, no foul. They carry on. Born as Ghost now. He's going to touch the turf a little bit. Seems like he has it sorted. And I don't know if it's a result of the lack of traction, because we look at Chaos Fox's situation, 75%, well, 76 on down to 71 there up front, 55s in the back, 11% of fuel, and I don't know, maybe Born as Ghost just losing a bit of traction there on those front 2 tires heading into turn number 1, and that had him off the pace. And then heading into 2 and 3, Chaos Fox just not adjusted to it and gives him a little bit of a tap there on the back. But again, no harm, no foul. And we'll take a look at it here on the X-Venture Rewind. You see that little bit of smoke there from Born as Ghost And now up to the chicane is where, boom, little contact. And Fear the Fun, Barney, Chaos Fox into pit lane. As the AI goes ahead and makes it interesting there on pit road. A little bit of contact. Again, that's the AI that have taken over the cars and just really struggle to kind of keep the vehicles from making contact. Craytrim in 5th. After making it, did he make his stop? He did. Chaos Fox says, heck, I think you're okay. I think you're okay, Born as Ghost. Chaos Fox, I'm talking Born as Ghost because we'll switch the camera on over. Born as Ghost with one of the back markers there, Fox Jason D. He'll approach this one carefully. And let's see, as they go into Ascari, I say he's going to approach it carefully. That was pretty daring there to go to the inside of Fox Jason D. Fox Jason D giving him enough space. Well done. That's what you like to see from the back markers. And that's Fox Jason D with great awareness. And giving room there for Born as Ghost to run up through the inside. I mean, he could have easily, Born as Ghost could have easily just made the pass on the straightaway down to Parabolica, but wanted to go ahead and execute early. That way he doesn't lose any pace. Currently running in 4th. He's only got 8% left in the tank now. However, he's one of the stragglers. Now we'll see if this late pit stop gives him any sort of advantage in terms of grip toward the end of the race. Because as we saw with our drivers going to pit lane, they were quickly approaching the 75-80% tire degradation. And there goes slow motion fire off the track. Fox Jason D struggling through that chicane. And maybe some of the focus or lack of focus was playing in at this point. AMS Unicon now into pit lane. He was leading, so he went off on a different strategy than that of McQueen, who is now coming across the line, will regain first position. As you see Unicon there in the background over the wall. His AI driver bringing him back out onto the track. And back to second he'll go. After leading for maybe what was one full lap or half a lap. Audrex in 3rd. Born as Ghost in 4th. Craytrim in 5th. And Born as Ghost, this time out of Parabolica, will have to go into pit lane. And you can see he's already to the inside, lining it up. AI applies the brakes, and in he goes. Let's go to Fox Jason D, who's behind Joe Beardy. Joe Beardy in 14th. Fox, check that, Fox in 14th. Joe Beardy in 13th. Born as Ghost says, I could have gone one more lap. Could you? I mean, you probably could. I'm guessing you would have just coasted, maybe coasted or been at the last bit of fumes there in the fuel tank. No reason to push it, though, right? As he's back out on the track now. Full tank of fuel, fresh tires. Nobody has dropped out of the race yet, which is great. In these endurance races, they will restart if a driver happens to disconnect. But avoiding that is awesome. Allows the racing action to continue on for us as the spectators, and definitely as a driver, like, you don't want to give your opponent any more reason to make it a race. I mean, if you're RZ and McQueen right now, you're pretty satisfied with the separation you've got over who's going to be the season 36 champion, Amos Huracan. He doesn't want to have to restart and have Huracan on his back bumper. And you see there Fox Jason D stamped on the side. Team not last. He's not. That he is not. He's in 14th of the 16 drivers out on the track. And we've got somebody who is parked off to the side there through 1 and 2 again. It looks like Sprzaus in that Crystal Pepsi car once again is off the track. That's okay. That's what you want to do. Get off the track. Don't be a hindrance. Let's go to Chaos Fox in 8th. There goes Born as Ghost, going to make a run on the inside, coming out of Parabolica, across the line, beginning of lap 29. Let's see what happens. These two made contact a few laps back into 2 and 3. It's going to be Chaos Fox, who will be out in front of Born as Ghost into Grande, and let's see, now it's Chaos Fox who's putting a little smoke out there. Tires lose traction, but quickly gain it back. And now into the S. It's going to be Born as Ghost. He was probably thinking about taking the opportunity, but really dependent on what angle of attack Born as Ghost, or excuse me, Chaos Fox had there through the chicane, and thought better of it. He'll wait another chance. Chaos Fox slides it out a little bit. You got a bit of a dip right there through turn number 7 on Curve del Esmo for the full track. It's turn number 5 here for us on the alternate track. A little bit of a dip down there, and so there is that tendency of getting a lot of speed through that corner, but then as soon as the track starts to even out, the weight shifts on the vehicle and tends to kind of shoot you out, slide you out. As long as you don't slide out too far into the dirt, it's okay. And now they're going to go side by side into Parabolica. Chaos Fox on the inside line. Then he goes ahead and puts his back bumper right out in front of Born as Ghost. But here comes Born as Ghost to the inside. And so these two, will they exchange position? No, they're going to go side by side, wheel to wheel, door to door. If not a little bit of an advantage there for Born as Ghost, and now he's kind of inching back toward the outside. He says, Chaos Fox, let me line up over there. Chaos is not going to allow him to do it, and here they go side by side. Well done, Chaos Fox. Able to hold on to 8th for right now. Lovely little battle here for 8th. Chaos Fox trying to play catch-up here with Martismo, who's in 7th, and not far out in front of him is Fear the Fun in 6th. This is definitely here at mid-pack the best racing we have out on the circuit, or at least the most competitive. We do have actually a pretty good battle toward the back end of the pack. Slow Motion Fire in 12th, Joe Beardy in 13th, and Fox Jason D in 14th. Modern Weapon not too far back there in 15th, although Modern Weapon, well, no, I see there on the ticker, he's just 1 lap back. And then Sprzaus, who we've seen intermittently have to go off the track. He's the caboose here of the train of 16. Hope y'all are having a good time hanging out with us here on X Venture, Twitch TV. Season number 36 of the Forza Spec Racing Series coming to an end tonight with race number 9. And Amos Huracan will be our champion coming out of this one. McQueen will fall just short, assuming he can hold on to first. It'll keep him second overall on the leaderboard, and then really what will happen from that point forward, from third on down. Can Drex hold on to a podium spot? Will Cratrim nab it from him here in the final week? All those questions to be asked here in the remaining, 14 laps or so, as Chaos Fox getting a little slidey coming out of Viscotti. And there will be a bit of an intermission, as there always is here in the Forza Spec Racing Series between seasons. So about a 4-week gap period, 3 or 4 week gap period before they get things going again in November. And again, all of the races here in FM4, the Forza Spec Racing Series, 8 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, and they go, most times they go 5 weeks straight. Only have there been a few instances where I think holidays have had them splitting it up a little bit. But if you are interested in participating, reddit.com/r/FM4, that's the place to go. And I promise you, no matter how quick or how slow you are or you think you are, you're going to find yourself right at home here in FM4. They've got drivers of all different skill levels, from the upper pro echelon all the way down to those who probably just make this the one and only time that they play Forza. They come out here just to run this series, and that's really it. And that's okay. Race clean. You'll have an invitation to come back each and every week. And it's a little community that is open arms. They accept folks of many different backgrounds, different perspectives, very diverse, very inclusive, very responsible, very respectful. What do you have to lose? Get out here and take part, and just kind of build your anticipation for the next Forza title. Like I said, I think it's still about a year out from that release. But hey, why go into the next Forza Motorsport cold? Go into it with a little bit of tried and tested experience. And I have no doubt that shortly after that release, they'll start having some seasons for the Forza Spec Racing Series and that new title. RZ McQueen, our race leader, and has been all the way since the beginning. I think the only time that he's handed off the lead was because of a difference in pit strategies between he and Amos Huracan. And so Huracan maybe had it for 1 or half a lap before McQueen got back out there. Drex, he's been in third throughout the entirety of this one. Cratrim is in fourth. Barney in fifth. Fear the Fun in sixth. Mortismo in seventh. Let's go to Mortismo. This little jockeying for position from sixth on back to ninth has been happening pretty much for the bulk of the race. Fear the Fun, Mortismo, Chaos Fox, and Born as Ghost. That's the order as of now, as we see Mortismo with Fear the Fun out in front of him, going through Variante Escati out here at Monza. 45 laps. This is the Enduro event, as is always the case for race number 9 in this series. Mixing it up. It's 2 races per night, weeks 1 through 4, and then this 5th and final week with the 9th race is the Enduro. And because of that, this race is 2 times the points. And so it can either be the race that helps you jump up a few spots because you do double the points as opposed to having to race twice, and that puts at risk if you're unable to get a good finish in one of those races, you'd be lower on points. But by doubling it here, this 9th and final race is oftentimes a deal breaker for some folks, or the deal maker. 2 races every other evening. Cut those 100 points in half per race. 50 goes to the leader, 47 then for a second, and then it works its way on downward from there. Let's go to LSE and Barney, who's in 5th, and he's got all kinds of traffic around him here. He's got Fox, Jason D out in front of him, Joe Beardy behind him. He's just kind of trying to part his way through the crowd. In a parabolique, Fox Jason D not relenting. He's in 13th, but his closest competitor in 14th is not too far behind him, Joe Beardy, and so he doesn't want to just give in here to Barney. He's going to make Barney work for it. And so into Grande they go. Barney maybe going to look to the outside. Nothing happening there. Let's see what goes on into the S's. And Barney gives him a little bit of tap there on the left rear quarter panel of Fox Jason D. Fox Jason D maybe misaligned there for the chicane. Has to go a little bit further into the inside. And it'll be Fox Jason D, LSE and Barney, and Joe Beardy. Not in that order in terms of placement, but at least where they physically are out on the track. Coming out of Curva de Lesmo now. And let's see if Barney here, making it a drag race, can find a way around, and it looks like he will. And then hopefully there won't be any contact here during a Scotty. Sometimes drivers can then misjudge the braking there if they've been drag racing with you. That doesn't seem to be the case. Barney able to get around, and he's only got slow motion fire out in front of him before he can start to, well, I say that, but he's well behind Gray Trim at this point. Chaos Fox, 8th. Sorry there, Buchunder. Do pit stops repair aero damage? I can't remember in this game, and then carry out responding there, yes. Oh no, and did we just lose our first driver of the evening? We did not. It was just a quick little black screen. Get a few more drivers into pit lane here. Maybe do a little of that aero repair. Maybe even mechanical repair. Fear the Fun able to get away from Chaos Fox here and Mortismo. And if Fear the Fun can keep it up, he may have a shot at Barney, who's, I don't know, looks like maybe 4 or 5 seconds ahead. Let's go back to Fox Jason D. Slow motion fire in 11th. Fox is in 12th. LSE and Barney, you see up there, he's kind of in a bit of a scrum with Slow, trying to get around him. Each lap that Barney finds himself racing the back markers means that he's only getting slower and slower, which is exactly what Fear the Fun wants to hear. Fear the Fun not having a great season 36. He would rather forget this one, I'm sure. Now back up to turn number 1 here. Lap number 37, and actually RC and McQueen getting ready to trip the counter there to 38. They're burning through this race pretty quickly. Again, S800, that's the highest that the Forza Spec Racing Series goes. They don't exceed S800. So these really are the quicker of the cars that you will ever find in here. And then they've fallen as far down as E-Class. I think the Fiat X19 is the first series that I ever covered here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, if I'm not mistaken, was in Fiat X19s. This after running in, I think it was B-Class for the VW Scirocco. And I'm trying to remember what the F100 was. I think the F100 might have been C or B class. Chaos Fox, 8th position. Getting close there to Muertismo into Parabolica. Lap 37 for them. And as quick as Muertismo and Chaos Fox are, McQueen's getting ready to scoot on past, put him a lap down. So the bulk of our drivers aren't even going to make it to lap 45. That's crazy. It's crazy. McQueen, Huracan, even Drex and Cratrim just so darn quick. Let's see how Muertismo with the Repsol EB110 handles Fox Jason D with Chaos Fox right in his rearview mirror. We'll go ahead and we'll ride on board. Now taking a look here at Chaos Fox, entered week number 5 in 8th position behind LSE and Buck. LSE and Buck presently in 10th behind Chaos Fox. And so depending on what week will be the drop week between these two. Chaos Fox with an opportunity to gain a position or two on the overall leaderboard here at the end of season 36. However, it is LSC Barney who is 2 spots out from him, and right now LSC Barney is in 5th to Chaos Fox's 8th. Here comes Chaos Fox, though, reeling in Muertismo after getting around Fox Jason D. Now they'll have to navigate around Modern Weapon with the race leader, Arzian McQueen, quickly closing in. Modern Weapon locking up the brakes there a little bit in front of our race leader. McQueen able to scoot around him without any incident. And so he'll continue to close in here on Chaos Fox, who will not be looking to yield to the race leader as he tries to hunt down Muertismo. To the inside goes Chaos Fox. Muertismo to the outside. And single file now coming out of Parabolica. Back up to the line, beginning of lap number 41 for them. Lap 42 for McQueen. The Repsol car, Muertismo, slides out a little bit. And then you see Modern Weapon there in the background. He does, in fact, slide out quite a bit off into the dirt. And now here comes McQueen to the inside of Chaos Fox. Again, Chaos Fox is not looking to give in here. You got that race leader behind you, but this is a battle for 7th. And so while the race officials in the real world may be dropping that blue flag on you, it's hard to just let up when you've got a spot to gain right out in front of you. And here comes McQueen. He's going to go ahead and split these two apart for right now. Let's see how quickly he can find himself around Muertismo. I don't know if he's going to be able to get any sort of slipstream here down on the straightaway to Parabolica. Now it's going to be McQueen to the low line. And like that, he'll go around Muertismo. That slows up Muertismo just a bit. Chaos Fox going to close in. And it's lap 43 for McQueen, lap 42 for the other two. But again, because of how things are running right now, McQueen will basically put everybody on their final lap next time by, regardless of how close they are to lap number 45. McQueen gets on by 7th and 8th. He's got a couple more drivers ahead of him. It's going to be Fear the Fun and one of the other backest of the back markers. Fear the Fun in 6th, Barney in 5th, Kratrum in 4th, Audrex in 3rd, Huracan in 2nd. Here comes Chaos Fox. What's going to happen here at Ascari? They go side by side. Actually, Muertismo a little bit late on the braking, and that just opens up the door for Chaos Fox to go ahead and make the move. An easy pass. Easy for me to say. Chaos Fox will have to hold off Muertismo for at least one more lap. As our race leader, Arzian McQueen, comes across the line, beginning of lap 44. And pardon me, I'm getting a little ahead of myself there. It'll be 45, lap 45, at which McQueen will see the white flag drop. Going to continue to hang out here as Chaos Fox moves to 7th. Mortismo back to 8th. Let's go to Fear the Fawn, who somehow has really roped in Barney. I don't know if Barney made a mistake at some point, but less than a second between 5th and 6th right now at this point here on lap number, well, this is 43 for 5th and 6th. And Fear the Fun, he'll see McQueen here approaching pretty quickly. And much like the situation with Mortismo and Chaos Fox, those two were battling it out. Same could be said for 5th and 6th. Don't expect Fear the Fun to just relinquish space. As they begin lap 44, and now across the line goes RZM McQueen. White flag flies, and we are just now 1 lap away from AMS Huracan picking up his 4th championship in the Forza Spec Racing Series. Fear the Fun, either on purpose or just so happens going to put on a little bit of a smoke show through 2 and 3. Can Fear the Fun make it happen? Get himself a top 5. He's in 12th entering this race after a season in which he's not been able to rack up the points from week to week. He's fallen out of a few races, been unable to participate in a few. So really this is all about the moment right here, and he's not going to be able to do it as he'll come up to the start-finish line, get that white flag. However, it'll be RZM McQueen who crosses the line, picks up the checkers, and wins the 9th and final race here, Season 36 in the Forza Spec Racing Series. AMS Huracan now across the line, our Season 36 champion. He grabs bragging rights, and we'll decide what vehicle everybody will drive in Season 37. 3rd place will go to Audrex. 4th will be Cratriums. 5th goes to Barney. Then it's Fear the Fun in 6th. Assuming those two aren't going to battle it out toward the start-finish line. I think they will. I think they're going to do it no matter if Soul Motion Fire is telling them, hey guys, race is over. I think Fear the Fun wants to challenge him for it. And I think Barney will oblige. He'll say, okay, bring it on. Show me what you got. Oh, Fear the Fun. He's going to get a little sloppy into the back end of Barney. Sends him sliding through a Scotty. And Fear the Fun will do the sportsman-like thing here and allow Barney to get back out on the track, and let's see, they'll wage war into Parabolica. And I don't know, Fear the Fun, he might just be too anxious. Not going to be able to make a run for it. So Barney will finish in 5th. Fear the Fun in 6th. Savage Trauma, thank you for the follow. Seventh will go to Chaos Fox. 8th is Mortismo's. Born as Ghost in 9th. Wonderful job. Born as Ghost has been on it here the last few weeks. Buck, LSCM Buck, rounding out the top 10. I'm going to go ahead and take note of where everybody finished, folks. We will run a few ads just so I can take a little bit of a breather, and then we'll talk to some of our drivers here in the driver's spotlight, get their thoughts on Season 36, whether or not they're happy to say goodbye to the EB110 and what they look forward to in Season 37. I'm Dustin Moore. You're watching X-Venture and the conclusion of Season 36, the Forza Spec Racing Series, here live on Twitch TV. For those of you watching the ads roll on by, thank you so much for hanging out through those. It does support the broadcast. And then typically when we have a second race of the evening, it affords our viewers joining us an opportunity to scoot on past the pre-rolls and get right into the action. Either way, thanks for sticking through it. And those of you who support the channel through a subscription, either through Twitch Prime or with a monetary subscription, thank you so much for your patronage and supporting the channel that way, and allows you to avoid seeing those pesky ads. Despite the fact that our Season 36 championship was not on the line tonight, great racing out here at Monza. Chaos Fox says, woo, that was exciting. Chaos Fox with a nice little battle there mid-pack. He, Mortismo, Fear the Fun, Born as Ghost, shuffling back and forth throughout the evening. Let's go ahead and bring into the driver's spotlight Chaos Fox. You said that was exciting. Are you able to kind of breathe now, or
yeah,
was it just one of those kind of like casually competitive races?
Honestly, no. That was I kind of had to be on the ball to maintain my position. Fear got the better of me. Um, the one thing I don't like about this track is just it's just where the sand traps are,
Hmm.
and you touch one, and then there goes all your momentum, and that's ultimately what lost me positions here and there. But I was able to claw back up to seventh, and I'm happy.
That you did, and yes, I mean racing's all about momentum, but when you got tracks like these that are high speed, not too much in the way of slow cornering, a few chicanes in here, but for the most part, a very fast track. Yeah, a little slip up into the dirt, and that's all it takes for you to lose pace. Speaking of slip ups, I mean, you were battling it out with Muertismo there for a bit. He got off the track a little bit in Curva Grande, and then heading into
Yeah.
2 and 3, or at least 2 and 3 for us here on the alternate version. I think it was you who got into the back end of him. Didn't create any problems. Everything was able to keep on, but I mean, it was that close.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. There were a couple times where, um, I just sort of misjudged how someone in front of me was slowing down, and I just got into the back of them a little bit. But luckily, that doesn't seem to upset these cars too much. So, there was a lot of rubbing going on the track between
Yeah.
cars. But um, yeah, this is definitely like a high-speed momentum track, and any little hiccup that you have anywhere on the track, that's it. Someone's going to pass you, and you're going to lose 2 or 3 positions. And the fact that I was able to get back up to seventh while battling, going back with Born as Ghosts, Bertismo, and Fear, this finale was a lot of fun. Um, it's just Ascari. This car does not like Ascari. Like, my car has understeer issues all over this track, and I get to Ascari, and the car wants to over rotate halfway through there, and that was a handful.
Borda's Ghost was telling us there when he finally decided to go into pit lane, he could have gone at least one more lap. Did you go in basically when you had anticipated, or did you two stretch it out a little bit?
Um, I wanted to play it safe. Like, I was just under 10% fuel, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to risk it. And and I don't know. I probably could have stayed out there longer, but it played out in my favor, so I'm not going to question it.
Yeah. Talking with SGR Chaos Fox here, who finished seventh position behind the Fear of the Fun. I was talking a little bit about Fear of the Fun. He has a tendency to be out in the front of the field, but then through inconsistencies of his own doing, it will shift backwards. I'm guessing maybe if you had a few more laps in you, you could have made a run for sixth.
I don't know. He was a good distance ahead of me.
Yeah.
Unless he made a mistake, I think he had sixth locked down. So, but him and I were going back and forth. I just wish I didn't let it slip out of my hands, because it would have been a good battle all the way to the end if at the rate we were going.
Amos Huracan, he's given us a couple of unique choices in vehicle after winning the championship. He picks up his fourth championship here in season 36. Which direction do you want to see him go? Obviously, we can't go any higher than S800, but do you want him to stay kind of in the high class, high performance index classes, or
Uh,
would
I
a
mean,
drop back down be welcome?
I'd like to see B or A class, but it's up to him. I don't know what he's gonna pick.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see. I mean, it'll take a little bit. As soon as he makes the decision there with Slow Motion Fire, like I mentioned, folks, he will Slow Motion Fire will post up some pictures there at reddit.com/r/fm4. Allow participants of the Forza Spec Racing Series to guess what vehicle it is. You guess the vehicle correctly, you get to choose one of the tracks for season number 37, one of the 9 races that season. Chaos Fox, I'll ask you 2 more questions, but first is focused on you. You do some content. You do quite a bit of content here on Twitch with your
Yes.
channel, SGR Chaos Fox. So, what's kind of the apple of your eyes, so to speak? What are you playing lately, apart from your participation here in FM4?
As of late, I've been revisiting PlayStation 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
My games that I'm revisiting are games I played a lot when I was younger.
Yeah.
Currently, I am going through Tokyo Extreme Racer 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you're not familiar with the game, it's It was made by developer Genki. It is highway racing in Tokyo, on the highways of Tokyo, and it is a wonderful game. Uh, Definitely a hidden little gem. Like it has a very big cult following,
Yeah.
but outside of that bubble, people don't know it doesn't know it exists. But when they find out about it, they love it.
Right.
It's a wonderful game. Um, Lots of customization, lots of fun, really ridiculous highway racing in it. But it's a lot of fun to play. It's even more fun to have an audience kind of cheering you along, admiring all the different kinds of weird, quirky Japanese cars that pop up in there. There's even some weird American cars in there too. Like I know the Di Tommaso Pantera is in that game too, which
Nice.
is a weird choice of car for that game, but it's very cool.
Right, right. I was actually lurking in there the other day. I know you were saying that you love it when folks are rooting you on. I was in there lurking while you were doing some of the Tokyo Extreme races, taking on the AI there. It's always cool to see the throwback to the era before multiplayer. When it was just you
Yeah.
and the AI, and obviously the developers making it as interesting as they could with AI. Chaos Fox, my last question for you then is any shout outs here this evening at the conclusion of season 36?
I got a couple. Obviously for tonight's race, Martismo, Fear, Born as Ghost, great racing. That was fun. Um, and shout outs to my buddy Andy, Fox Jason D.
That's right.
Every season he's getting faster, he's getting more consistent, he's getting better, and it's definitely cool to see him improve. How much compared to when he first started doing RFM4. So definitely excited to see how well he does next season.
Yeah, Box Jason D finishing 12th out here at Bonza, out in front of Raccoon and just behind Slow Motion Fire. And what was kind of a little bit of a shuffling of the cards, the deck, all throughout that race. We saw Slow Motion Fire as far back as 15th, and then he made his way up. And Fox Jason D again picking up 12th there out at Monza for the finale. Chaos Fox, always great chatting with you. Always love your participation here in the series. Hope to see you back for season 37, and we'll see how well you do in that one.
Heck yeah, can't wait to come back.
Heck yeah, that would very appropriate there for Chaos Fox. He's a fan of the hecking. He likes to heck. So Chaos Fox jumping in here in season 36, unable to race back. I think it was in week number 2, but then was able to get back into the thick of it for week number 3, and then all the way here through the finale, and should finish in the top 10 overall. Once Soul Motion Fire has tallied up the points. And speaking of the tallying of the points, Soul Motion Fire telling us that just as we knew coming into tonight's event that AMS Huracan has picked up the championship in season 36, and in so doing will decide the vehicle for season 37. Fear the Fun, what's going on, man?
How's it going, Mr. Dustin? Hey, I remember his name. I got it.
All right, I'm going to send you back, and we can try this again. No, I'm kidding. I love the fact, so we saw RZM McQueen come across the line, which traditionally in FM4 signifies the end of the race, even though you guys were just behind him. And so you had to go around the track one more time. And by you, I mean Barney, LSM Barney and yourself. And you guys said, hey, to heck with it. We're gonna run this final lap. And it was quite exciting there at the end.
Yes, I wish I wouldn't have bumped him. I thought it would have been much closer.
Yeah, and it's kind of the tail of the tape. I say this in a nice and endearing way, if at all possible. But it's kind of what we've seen. You'll get out there, you get really eager, and you're in a great position. But then there's just something that causes you to drop back. I mean, you guys were fighting there for 5th, and even more so for 6th. I mean, you had to battle it out with Born as Ghost, SGR Chaos Fox, and Mortismo just to get 6th. But then able to at least put up a fight there with Barney before he held on to it. I mean, he didn't let it go. But man, what's it going to take to get you focused and a little bit more error-free moving forward?
Just need a better car. Honestly, I hated this car. This wasn't good in it. I wasn't fast in it. I couldn't get it to go anywhere. The fact that I even got close to 5th place today blows my mind.
I won't razz you too heavily there for blaming it on the car.
Hey,
What was it in
it's not.
particular? What was it in particular that you didn't like about it?
It's just a very stiff. Like I can't get it to turn in, and when I did get it to turn in, it would
Yeah.
oversteer. It was just. It wasn't a fun car to drive.
Right. Okay. So if you're kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudging here to Huracan, who may either have his vehicle in mind and maybe you're going to try to get him to change his mind, or maybe he's got a few ideas throwing around. Where do you want to see season 37 going? What's going to get you back into the top 10, top 8, top 5 here in season
Front
37?
engine, rear wheel drive, something low class, something that's slow. Takes a little bit of skill to get away from, not just so much raw horsepower hitting your apex.
Okay.
Uh, I'm looking for. I think you remember the Fiat X19 season, or even before your time, the Datsun 510. Something slow, something good handling, not overpowered. Very similar to the R31 that we ran.
Yeah, it's always very interesting seeing those seasons with the slowing cars, the slower vehicles, because it kind of does level out the playing field a bit, where even the fastest drivers, yeah, they're going to excel still. I mean, you can't take that skill away from them, but it does even the playing field out a little bit because mistakes are a little bit fewer and far between. Like it's easier to keep the track between the car between the white lines. So that would be interesting to kind of see back to like you had mentioned, the Fiat X19. Obviously, not getting into that same car, but somewhere thereabouts would be pretty fascinating. Talking with Fear of the Fun, finishing in 6th out here at Monza. Not a big fan of the Bugatti EB110. Wants to maybe drop it down a little bit, as is going to happen because, well, unless they get into S800s again in season 37, they're going to have to go downward. What track maybe would have helped you out a little bit with the Bugatti, or was there a race here in season 36 where you felt at least a little bit more comfortable in the car?
I felt good at Daytona. I wish I wouldn't have gotten tangled up with Suntang going into the bus stop, but I felt comfortable.
Okay. Yeah, and that
And
was
I did decent tonight, even though couldn't get the car to stay out of the sand trap.
yeah. Yeah, and man, Daytona, you really said that you did better there, and that was coming off of the Le Mans the same week, the Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe, and then we had Daytona Sport Car Circuit. What a great combination that was! But man, a difference in vehicle setup, I would guess. I don't know. It seems like two disparate races there, but very cool. Love the insight. Well, hey, Fear the Fun. Even though it didn't work out for you too hot here in season 36. Like you said, I mean, very commendable finish. Way to cap off the season here, and look forward to seeing you in 37.
Yes, sir. I hope to see you back for season 37. Hope to see more people come for
That's
season
right.
37. I hope we have a better car for season 37. But ultimately, I hope the racing's good. We have fun. People make new friends. Maybe we get some of them new Xbox Game Pass people to come try to get better without, using public lobby bumper bash.
Great point. Great point. Well, we'll see. Heading into season 37, what Fear the Fun's mentioning there is that Forza Motorsport 7 now available on Game Pass, so you don't even have to have purchased the game to be able to compete here. You just need to race clean. And so if you're new to organized league racing, or maybe you are familiar with league racing but just haven't participated here in the Forza Spec Racing Series, then head on over to reddit.com/r/FM4 Slow Motion Fire. We'll get the information up for season 37 over the next couple of weeks. So just keep looking back, maybe once a week, go back, make sure that you're staying up to date. And as soon as registration opens for season 37, put your name down. It's not going to hurt you to do so, even if you can't make it for any one particular race, or maybe there's going to be a few races that you won't be able to be there for. It's okay. They typically have a few spots open on the grid. However, like I said, if we can get ourselves a full grid in season 37, I think it was last season that we had seen our last full grid. We always love to get that in the next seasons, and it doesn't matter if you're like, man, those drivers looked really, really quick out there tonight. I saw some folks at the back end. I don't want to be back there. Well, folks are going to have to be there. You're going to have to be there to be in it to win it, or to at least just be in it to be a part of it. And I think that's the best part, is just having a role or a position, or being engaged and participatory in a community series like this, especially one that's run so well and isn't going to make you feel like you just walk through a toxic garbage pit at the end of the night. Like, the folks are really good spirited, and they're really kind, and they're going to help you out too. So even if you're like, well, I'm a pretty good driver, but I just don't know how to set the vehicle up right, they've got folks that'll help you out with that as well. T-Phrase says, I just missed the end. Well, that's okay, T-Phrase. You can watch it back, and we'll get the replay going here following this broadcast. And then for anybody who may have missed any of the races here in Season 37 in Season 36, or if you want to look back at past seasons, just go to that videos section here at twitch.tv/xventure, and then past broadcast, and you can see any of our past broadcasts on demand, which means you can fast forward, rewind, take a look at some of the cool parts over and over again to your heart's desire, and get yourself motivated and pumped up for Season 37. I don't have the dates for that yet, and I don't know if Slow Motion Fire's here to drop those, but be on the lookout for them. And over there on their subreddit, reddit.com/r/FM4, that's the place to be to stay in the know. Let's get ourselves a full lobby. And yes, even if you are a newcomer by way of Game Pass, or maybe you're picking up the game on the cheap from the Microsoft Store here during the holidays, give it a shot. See what you can do. And don't get discouraged if you get beat up too badly. Just keep at it. And before you know it, you might find yourself doing better than you had possibly imagined. Savage Trauma says, I'm going to put my name down for Season 37. Love it. I appreciate the follow here tonight, Savage. And I look forward to seeing you out on the track. Typically, there's about 1 to 3 new gamer tags each season, so might as well make that be you. You might as well be one of those new ones. They'll give you an orange number board. That orange number board signifies that you're a newcomer, but it puts you in the same grouping as everybody else in terms of the championship. So have a run at it. And who knows, maybe you're quicker than you know, or maybe you know you're quick and you want to give some of our top drivers a little bit of a challenge. Maybe you want to mix it up. And again, put an end to the back-to-back AMS seasons here. Between AMS, Huracan, and Storm, I think they've won out the last 4 or 5. So let's get somebody in here to stop that. Hopefully RZ and McQueen will be back for Season 37 and can take a shot at it. All right, I don't see anybody else there in the driver's spotlight. Everybody being pretty shy. We've had some seasons where, like, the drivers, I just can't keep them from hopping in there, and then Slow Motion Fire has to tell me, hey, you're taking up too much time speaking to drivers, and now I can't get anybody to get in here apart from Fear the Fun and Chaos Fox. They're chatty. They like to get in here. They like to let you know who they are. And that's another great thing, too. If you want to participate in FM4 and then also at the same time you want to kind of be a part of this little interview process, their Discord. That's the place that you'll have to be in. They want you to be in Discord during the races, whether you're racing on the Xbox or the PC, as long as you're able to be dialed into the Discord. That's kind of what they ask you to do. And then you hop into that queue for interview channel in between the races, and I'll be happy to drag you in, ask you a few little softball questions, and let some of our viewers know who you are. Slow Motion Fire telling T-Phrase, we miss you, big time tooth guy. I can attest, great group and very fun to race with, says T-Phrase. There you go. You got plenty of ambassadors here for FM4. I mean, there have been so many drivers in and out the doors here of FM4, and that's not a bad thing. Just because there's a little bit of turnover from season to season is not a bad thing. Some drivers, they take a little bit of a break. Others, maybe they want to kind of give others a chance to race and have a good time. So some folks will duck out from season to season. That's not a bad thing. Not at all. T-Phrase, he's gonna well up and cry because we miss him. We miss you, man. We miss your hair. We miss your liveries. We miss your musk. You guys check out T-Phrase here on Twitch as well. Doing a little bit of iRacing stuff. I think you've been doing some truck racing, right? It's a mullet now. There you go. Heck yeah. All right, folks. Well, that's going to do it for me here tonight. Oh, and T-Phrase is doing some Xfinity stuff this evening. So go on over to T-Phrase's channel here in a little bit and watch him do some iRacing. How long is the season? It's 5 weeks of racing, Savage. And don't worry, if you can't participate all 5 weeks, they're understanding. Obviously, it would be ideal that people who start the season make their way all the way through and finish it out. But if there are a couple of weeks where you're saying, hey, I've got some travel, I've got some vacation, or maybe I anticipate some work stuff, completely understandable. Be engaged and active as much as you possibly can, and those times that you're unable to be there, we'll miss you, and then we'll be happy to welcome you back the races thereafter. But yeah, 5 weeks, 9 races in total. So 2 races apiece, weeks 1 through 4, and then that final endurance race like we had here tonight in week number 5. And they all go. The racing goes about 2 hours, 2 hours an evening. So from 8 p.m. Eastern till about 10. Yep. All right, folks. Well, where I was going is that I'll be off on Tuesdays for the next 2 weeks. Typically during the FM4 off season, I use that opportunity to get in and play some different games here on the stream, but I will be unable to do so over the next 2 Tuesdays. So what it's looking like right now is that I should be back live here on the channel on November the 3rd. Tuesday, November the 3rd. And I don't think FM4 Season 37 will be underway just yet, so I will probably be on with something other than Forza. So maybe if you want a little bit of a break and you want to see what other games I could play, November the 3rd, that'll be the next time that I'm live on a Tuesday. The last broadcast that I'll have for the next 2 weeks is coming up this Friday with Holland for the Weekend. And that is in the world of American Truck Simulator. Yeah. I will be live this Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern, for 2 hours of American Truck Simulator. We're going to go down to Phoenix, pick up my Western Star 49X, and we're going to go drop something off somewhere. We're going to get a job, and we're going to go travel east, west. I don't know which direction, but we'll do that. It's going to be fun. The first time for me driving the 49X. I'm curious to see how the truck does. It's a single cab with no sleeper, so I think you could still stop and get some rest. I don't know. Come and check out the trials and tribulations of my trucking career, the More Trucking Company, in American Truck Simulator this Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. And because I will be off the next 2 weeks after that, there will be no Sunday broadcast, but just know that I am working to figure out, hey, what can we do in Microsoft Flight Simulator that would be cool, that would be kind of episodic. We've just been doing some random flights over the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I want to put some sort of episodic thing together where we can kind of travel over the period of multiple broadcasts to different locations around the globe, picking up where we left off each week in order. So we'll fly somewhere, we'll land, and then a week later on the next broadcast, we'll take off from that landing destination and go to another place. So stay tuned for more on that. And, of course, everything X-Venture here on Twitch, you can keep up to date with there on my Twitter. It's X-Venture on Twitter, the same as my Twitch tag here. And, yes, it's X-Venture, the EXE part, just paying tribute to executables in the computer language world, but changing it from Virtual Autosports a few weeks, about a month ago. Now that I've kind of branched off beyond just the motorsport stuff, doing Flight Simulator, Truck Simulator, and might dabble in a few things even outside of the world of transportation. Maybe we'll play some other games, really break it up and keep it fresh here on the channel. All right, folks, well, that does it for me. As always, you get any racing in, keep it fun, keep it safe, keep it clean. Until Friday, y'all take care, stay happy, stay healthy. If early voting has opened up for you, go out and vote. Keep that mask on. We'll see you next time right here on X Venture. Adios. Bye.